All right, good morning.
Good morning. We're back.
We're back by popular demand. We've got some maybe new viewers or listeners today, probably, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you.
So our last episode with Cole has done probably the best out of all of them so far that we've done recently. So shout out to everyone who's listened.
And shout out to Cole again for, learned a
knowledge.
lot. Yeah, learned
He
a lot
dropped some
about
knowledge on us.
aviation. And now I know that if my plane is flying in the winter, I feel a lot safer than flying in the summertime.
Yep.
But
If
no,
your engine goes out, you
yeah.
can still make it to a landing spot. But, you know, your body, before you do something important, will allow itself to release its bowels. You know that?
What does that even mean?
You know, like before you like work out or run, it's like you just got to get everything out of the system.
Yeah, it's an anxiety. I don't know. Yeah, you got to go to the bathroom for sure.
Yeah, it feels good. So
I had that problem in high school before baseball class. Yeah, because we'd have workout class like 9 a.m. and I had Spanish right before, and I always we had to run in class, in baseball class, and so I would always get super nervous about running, and I'd have to go to the bathroom every day before.
Oh, geez.
Just unleash the hounds.
Oh my God!
Then Miss Fernandez thought that I had like IBS or something, so she made me get like a permanent nurse's pass to just be able to use the bathroom whenever I wanted to go.
She's like, "What is this kid doing?"
Yeah, because I'm shitting my brains out before I got to go run a warm-up mile.
Looking back on it, it's like that's so easy now.
Yeah.
But
well, I wanted to just kind of start off with a pretty interesting question. I know it's a little bit earlier. It's around 8 a.m. Typically, we do the podcast around 10. I guess last week was 2.
Yeah, it depends. Usually 10 to 12.
Yeah. But I've been watching a lot of TV, some good TV shows recently, and so I wanted to ask you a question. Do modern portrayals of fathers in media uplift or mock the role of fatherhood?
Oh my God, that's easy. Obviously mock.
Mock? You think so?
Yeah, like I can't remember. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I can't remember the last TV show I watched where the dad was actually like a respected member or, you know, character in the show. My mind's going to like Disney Channel, like Good Luck Charlie.
Yeah.
You know that dad? God, the son's right.
Yeah. That goofball.
He's a buffoon.
Dad. Yeah.
But yeah,
Are
what
you
do you
gonna
think?
be good there? We're back. Changed the environment a little bit.
Yeah, the light was directly in my cornea, my right eye, so couldn't sit there for too long.
Yeah, I decided to get some fresh air instead. It's a beautiful morning here in Texas. Waking up with the birds.
Yeah, it's great out here. Feel good. Sun's shining, so yeah, JOJ episode 49, and this is I was really looking forward to this episode. We got a lot of topics to talk about.
Go ahead and start her off.
Well, there's a quote that I heard on a podcast by Michael Malice. So he goes, you know, you can take a red pill, but don't take the whole damn bottle. And so this basically means that, you know, you believe the moon landing's fake, fine, that's a red pill. You believe 9/11 was an inside job, that's a red pill too. But don't go on the fact that Hitler was a good guy and the Holocaust was fake. That's like overdosing on red pills.
Do you think there's a lot of people out there doing that?
I definitely do. I feel like it's kind of like pushed sometimes on the algorithm on Twitter. I feel like you can get into an algorithm where you're really into learning about like, oh, what's like that counter narrative of something, and you keeps reinforcing that, and you keep seeing more and more, and then you get more and more fringe ideas. So
yeah, because you're kind of touching on what Douglas Murray was saying a
Yeah.
little bit. The Douglas Murray, Dave Smith, Joe Rogan, podcast was pretty, I wouldn't say controversial is the right word, but the question that you're proposing is kind of the central theme of what they were talking about. And
it was kind of a heated conversation. So Douglas Murray, I guess, is a historian.
Not even that. He doesn't even have a history degree. He's got like an English degree.
Yeah. So, and then Dave Smith, comedian, political commentator.
Yeah.
Titles are weird because this is what the whole argument was about.
Yeah.
Douglas Murray kept saying, like, Joe, you're having all these podcasters on that are giving counter narratives, and it's becoming very popular, and it's a bad thing.
I mean, we exist in the free market of ideas and conversation, and people can certainly believe what they want to believe. You know, it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong necessarily, but you're able to talk about it. But yeah, the interview is interesting because I feel like even with myself as of recently, you know, as you're getting out of college, you're, you know, starting the workforce, you're getting around all these people from academia, credentials, certifications. Credentials and certifications mean a lot in our modern world, where it's like, hey, I'm a doctor. So, you know, people put you on this pedestal.
Yeah.
It's, you go to school, you get a master's degree, people put you on this pedestal. You get a degree in a certain field. I'm an expert in this field. And so I think because of what's happened over the last 5-6 years, kind of starting with COVID and the whole trust the expert narrative, and if you, you know, science deniers and, you know, these words kind of get thrown around, and it makes people think that you can only listen to the experts, quote unquote, when there are plenty of people who can do their own research, can formulate their own opinion, formulate their own argument, and still exist in the arena, right? You don't have to have a history degree to talk about history. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a personal trainer to talk about health and fitness. But you certainly need to be prepared and, like, know what you're talking about if you want, you know, to have these ideas become a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah, you're right. It's like the degree, the certification, the title or whatever, that's like an indicator that you're an expert.
Yeah.
And they've even done experiments, like, I can't remember what experiment it was, but it was the people that were asked to shock someone to death pretty much, and it's just someone in a lab coat.
It was like the Milgram experiment, I think, right?
Yeah, so like the people ended up just following the orders of an authority figure.
Yeah. Being
the people in the lab coat. But yeah, I think like to find out if someone's an expert, at the end of the day, you're going to have your own idea of who you're going to trust or not. And there's going to be doctors that you do trust and doctors that you don't. Like, are you going to trust the doctor who's obese and sloppy? Are you going to trust the doctor, or maybe not even the doctor, maybe the homeopathic specialist who's in shape, who's living a healthy lifestyle, who's actually practicing what he preaches? I think it's an easy choice there for me. But I remember going into COVID, and I went to Care Now, and I had COVID. Me and my mom had COVID. And the lady is like, so I'd done a lot of research before, and I knew, I was like, okay, I forget what it was called, but it was like a shot you could get, or an IV.
Monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah, the monoclonal antibodies. It was like, okay, these are antibodies from someone who had COVID and got over it, so this is actually going to assist your immune system in recovering. Mm-hmm. And I knew that was like a good treatment. And I go into the Care Now office, and she's just like, okay, just go home and wait it out. And at this point, there's a lot of panic and hysteria, so I was like, just go home and wait it out? Like, what about this? What about monoclonal antibodies? She's like, oh, yeah, that, I recommended that to 3 of my friends, and they're already better.
That's what the doctor said?
Pretty much. And I was like, well, can I get some of that? Can
please?
I have some, please? Jingle, jingle, jingle. Yeah, and so there's obviously an agenda, especially in the medical space.
And that's, I feel like, because everyone can relate to that. Not everyone's going to college, but everyone has health and needs to be concerned about their health. So you're going to go to the doctor at some point in your life. At least we'd hope so.
Yeah.
But, it's challenging now because you don't want to come across as an asshole. to people who have clearly worked hard to be in a position of authority to help others.
Good point.
But at the same time, like, you have every right to look out for your own best interests. And if you don't feel like that recommendation or that treatment protocol is going to be the best thing for you, like, you should be allowed to ask questions and demand information. And now it's like, you know, you go to the doctor and they're going to inject you with something. You're like, what is that? And they're like, oh, you don't want it? They go,
oh, you're one of them?
Yeah. And so it's like, I think there are people in like higher education within those realms that need to adjust to people asking questions and being hesitant and wanting more information to make a decision on versus blindly just, well, you're the authoritative figure in this scenario. I'm just going to default to you, which I feel like that's kind of how things had been. And obviously now with the transfer of information, the availability of information, like people can do a lot more research versus back in the 70s and 80s, you know.
Yeah, and
like people truly did trust. The doctor was like a huge figure in a lot of these communities.
Yeah, and it's crazy too if you just consider like the practices that medical doctors did back in the day, like a lobotomy. They'd remove part of your brain thinking it would cure you.
Yeah.
And
you got headaches?
And if you go back into that time period, it's like the consensus was that taking out part of your brain would relieve you of some sort of ailment, you know? And so then you fast forward to today, we haven't figured everything out.
No.
So the things that are consensus, I mean, you just got to keep that in mind. Like,
I mean, they didn't even know washing your hands was healthy.
Yeah.
You'd have doctors going to the bathroom and then performing surgery on you without washing their hands.
Jesus.
And so, like,
Poopy
if you were
fingers.
the person at that time, to be like, hey, maybe we should wash those fingers here.
Yeah, maybe put on some gloves.
And they're like, Nazi.
But that brings it back to the Douglas Murray thing with Dave Smith, because Douglas Murray was really upset about a certain podcaster talking about Winston Churchill.
Yeah, Daryl Cooper, which I listened to that episode on Joe Rogan.
That was
really
one.
informative.
So he does a super long like podcast breakdowns of historical events, and he's about to put out one about World War II. But Douglas Murray is upset that he was kind of getting into the weeds about certain actions done by Churchill that might have been bad. You know, there's like... And I think Douglas Murray's an English guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Winston Churchill being English, there's kind of like because he got clearly emotional about the whole conversation.
Yeah, he was passionate about it.
And he kept saying that these podcasters, you know, like they're just podcasters. And he kept appealing to authority of like, they're not historians and we have to have some standards for information.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Smith was like, look, like, I'm a comedian, but I also am really interested in politics and all this stuff too. And Daryl Cooper's a podcaster. He's super interested in this, and he's done a lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's kind of, like, on the fringe where it's like, I kind of agree with Douglas Murray, but at the same time, like, we shouldn't silence people that are just really interested and done a lot of research but don't have the credentials of historian or, you know, World War II expert.
Yeah.
Like, who even gives you that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of frustrating.
And there's also a lot of, this is something that I think has been exposed to by Doge. Like, there's also a lot of fraud when it comes to these academic researchers and things that they've been working on and grants that they've received that aren't legitimate towards a cause, faking research.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like...
Tons of it.
Kind of goes back to the full circle of trusting the experts when we've seen that the experts lie. then why is it so crazy for me to ask for secondary proof?
Oh my God, yeah.
And so but yeah, if you watch the interview, and I think this is also a pretty good glimpse into what it looks like having dialogue with people that you disagree with, which I think that's like a skill set. You know, obviously there's a lot of things going on right now that people disagree about, hot button issues. We've made everything seem so like black and white.
Yeah.
But Like
there's room for the middle.
Yeah, but like Douglas Murray starts the interview off with this super intense, like just passive aggressive, he's being an asshole.
Yeah, he's upset because there's some construction going on.
Yeah, there's
I don't know if that'll get picked up in the podcast, but yeah, he just starts it off really upset that Joe has decided to have these people. And he's like, do you think you've had a lot of people that actually have the pro-Ukraine, argument on? Do you think you've had enough of them? In his English British accent.
Yeah.
And he's just very...
he's like...
Maybe it's a bias.
He's like, I'm bemused. Like, shut the fuck up.
We receive money from Qatar.
Yeah. But, like, how would you go about... Because I know we've had a lot of these... we're not afraid of... Confrontation's not the right word, but we're not afraid of expressing our... Yeah. We want the smoke.
We want all the smoke.
We want that smoke podcast. But I've certainly had many disagreements with people, strangers, friends, family, relationships, whatever. You have to go into these conversations and not get loud. Like, you have to keep yourself cool. You have to speak in a clear, articulate manner, because it's like the first one to get loud and the first one to get emotional is usually the wrong one, and it's hard to keep going in there when people just can't keep their wits about them.
Yeah, I think we've all, and I definitely have had my fair share of tough conversations. I think, like, if you're having a tough conversation with a person, maybe someone that you're close with, there's probably a couple things you need to worry about. I think you're right about the keeping your emotions in check, because that is true. Once you become emotional about it, then your logic tends to... It's kind of like a pendulum. Or there's like a pizza pie of emotion or logic. And if you take a slice of the logic, you're removing a slice of the emotion, if that makes any sense. But I think also you have to come into it with the idea that you love the other person. If you actually love them and care about them, then it's okay if you disagree about something. And it's not about winning. And I've definitely done it in the past where, I know what's going to hurt someone, and I know, like, the buttons to push that would get them emotional. Mm-hmm. And it feels like, okay, I'm not going to get emotional, but I know how to make you.
Yeah.
And then I'm feeling like I'm winning, but really that's, like, a low thing to do. But it's difficult, especially, like, around politics and things like that. So I think it's not a good idea to avoid that, though. I feel like those tough conversations actually help you understand the other person.
Yeah.
Because you can understand why they believe what they believe. And then if it comes to the point where, like, there's no real, foundation for their beliefs, then after that you kind of make a judgment.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I've heard more recently that, especially within, like, relationships with partners and stuff, people are like, we're just not going to talk about politics. Is that healthy, you think? Not talking about politics whatsoever?
I think there's a part of that is healthy. Like, if you're in your relationship and the relationship is focused on, like, you don't want your girl to be, like, your main talking partner about, like, politics.
No.
Like, that would just create so many, like, little things that you wouldn't want to do. But if it does get brought up, it's a good litmus test of how you guys can, like, navigate a topic.
Yeah.
Or, like, a potential disagreement. So, but, yeah, I don't think you should, like, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about, fucking whatever it could be? The latest thing that you saw next that's outrageous.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, I wasn't even... Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really do anything with the information.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, it's like you're going to tell me something, oh my God, like...
Did you see they were protesting at...
Yeah, did you see the... Did you see the man versus LGBT protest in Australia?
Oh, that's a crazy video. The Haka dance.
Oh my god! Shit, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get fucking shot up for doing that. It's aggressive.
Yeah. So can you explain a little bit more about what that was?
Yeah.
I'll pull up the Instagram video.
Do I need to do a demonstration for the crowd?
Yeah.
So I saw this on Instagram.
Also, shout out to our Polynesians. We love the Polynesian people.
Yeah, don't mess with those people.
The Rock. Shout out to The Rock.
Basically, I think it was in Australia, where Australia is super woke right off the bat. They don't have any weapons either, except for the military, of course. So the people are puny. But they had it was like I don't even know what the other... One side was LGBTQ plus, and then the other side was all these Polynesian, like, big dudes that were doing the Haka dance.
Which is their, like, cultural... It's kind of like a ritualistic...
It's like they do it before...
song dance.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that do it before, like, rugby matches, where they get in front of the other team and they're, like, slapping their knees, slapping their chest, sticking their tongue out. And it's very, like... It's honestly intimidating.
Yeah, let's see here. The Haka is iconic throughout the world. Maori tribes as a war dance. It's an ancestral war cry. It was performed on the battlefield for two reasons. Firstly, it was done to scare their opponents. The warriors would use aggressive facial expressions such as bulging eyes and poking of their tongues. They would grunt and cry in an intimidating way while beating and waving their weapons. The second reason they did this was for their own morale. They believed that they were calling upon the god of war to help them win the battle.
Oh.
So...
Yeah, it was almost like just like a huge culture thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's impressive to watch. You know, I've never seen one in person, I don't think. And maybe in person you'd be like, okay.
I've seen them in, like, movies. There's, like, a soccer movie where the guys were all Polynesian. They did that. Yeah.
Invictus?
Yeah, I think so.
With Matt Damon?
Yes.
Yeah. He plays for the South African team, and I think Morgan Freeman is, like, Nelson Mandela.
Okay, it might have been a different movie. But I know that movie.
Yeah. But, yeah, imagine being at, that rally, and then all of a sudden you start hearing these freaking war cries, and you're like, oh my God.
It's like,
they're coming!
It's like, what side are you joining? Yeah.
I know where I'm hopping in.
You hopping in between the blue-haired girls.
No.
Not girls, sorry. Misgendered.
Yeah, you're canceled.
Yeah, fuck.
But yeah, that's and you have to be okay with that, right? Like, you can't have one side and then someone else gets their group together and be like, it's too far.
Yeah, that's what they brought it to. It's kind of like they went too far. So now all the masculine men got to come out and do the Haka in front of them.
Yeah.
So they get whimper and go back in their corners.
Their furry tails are tucked beneath their...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'll take the Hakas versus the furries any day of the week.
Hakas are huge favorites.
Yeah. I mean, also, Texas has a decent Polynesian population, especially in, like, Trinity, some of these areas in Texas. But they also kind of congregate, at least I'm thinking more like college athletics, but BYU, Stanford, a lot of the California schools, Utah. And I've worked at a restaurant with, and Cody would know this, at Gino's. We worked with probably 4 or 5, like, Polynesian brothers, and they were all massive people.
That's
just
insane.
Unbelievably huge people. And they're super family-oriented, like, community-oriented, and just even you kind of get a glimpse of that by learning a little bit more about, like, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and, what his heritage means to him. So it's like a really powerful, group of people. Like, you don't want to fuck with them.
No.
Like, you do not want to.
If
you're ever about to get in a fight with a Polynesian person, you need to just step away, because
Yeah.
They're bigger than you, they're stronger than you, and they will do some damage.
Even if you beat one, there's 3 more behind them.
Yeah. Latu.
And they keep
Hatu,
getting bigger.
Tatu.
He said it, not me.
Yeah. What was the name of
Hatu.
that makes me think of Dodgeball, True Underdog Story.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Ben Stiller's team, what is it? Globo Gym,
the
Cobras.
Joes?
Well, yeah,
no.
Average Joes
Yeah.
versus like the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. And they do that dance like.
Dude, Ben Stiller is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but they bring in that one female member from like Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, she's from the mountains.
I can't remember what her name is. Like Fran Stephanopoulos.
She's got like really thick black eyebrows.
A huge mole on her. Yeah. She's like, she's the most powerful woman on her nuclear power plant team. Yeah, that's a great.
Good old jokes.
Yeah, but that's don't fuck with the polys.
Nah, don't. It's fun to laugh at, jokes like that, even though they might be offensive. But it's still good to laugh.
Yeah, you gotta laugh.
Yeah, you gotta laugh. You gotta make fun of it. Brings me to next topic. You saw the clip of Andrew Schultz addressing Ryan Clark?
Yeah, that was a good video. Who was that guy? That YouTuber.
Officer Tatum.
What's his is the sun in your eyes again?
Yeah, we moved. I guess we should have angled it different, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Officer Tatum, he's a former cop who does a lot of political commentary. And people call him like a Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
Because he'll call out, he's a big black guy, and he'll call out other black people, and calls out white people. Obviously, there's no like a racial thing involved, but yeah, he broke it all down. So for the listeners, Andrew Schultz had a podcast, Flagrant, where 2 guys went on there, and they were kind of making a joke about how after a guy dates a black girl, he ends up shaping up his whole life and getting a nice tight haircut. His beard's looking good.
A little buzz fade action.
He's in the gym. And there's like some sort of... I've never heard of this before, to be honest. But
it's like the Travis Kelce effect, I guess.
That's what they called it that. And then Andrew Schultz, being a comedian, made a complete joke about it, basically saying that, no, they're actually getting that short haircut because they're losing all their hair because they're so stressed.
Yeah. And
they got a nice beard because they need more padding for when the black chick smacks them in the face.
Yeah.
And so he made a joke.
And it got a lot of laughs.
It's
Everyone was laughing.
Everyone was laughing. And then Ryan Clark, former NFL player,
Ray Spader,
ESPN guy, basically was like thinking he's holier than thou, talking about how he basically couldn't take the joke.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And went on his own podcast or something. And
yeah, do you know any more about it? Like, what was the response from...
Well, it's also kind of interesting, like, watching... I mean, Ryan Clark, if you've paid attention to ESPN for the last few years, he's certainly been a popular figure for them. And it just... Everything now is, like, so racially driven when it comes to sports and athletics. And especially, like, the Josh Allen... Lamar Jackson conversation about who was going to be the MVP of the football league. And it's all about black versus white versus like the stats. And it's an exhausting conversation. But yeah, so Andrew Schultz called him out, and then, Ryan Clark went on his podcast and pretty much regurgitated this word salad of... Yeah. I mean, it was honestly it was hard to watch because I'm like, this guy does not know how to talk.
Yeah, like Andrew Schultz was like, I went and looked at all your podcasts, and I saw if you had anyone on here that actually beat up black women.
Yeah.
And he's
like, not allegations, like charged.
Yeah, convictions. And basically he was like, yeah, you did, and I also listened to the podcast to see if you addressed it, and you didn't.
Yeah.
And Ryan Clark's like...
What'd you say? Gosh.
Jeez, my allergies are going crazy.
Star, what do you got on your face? What is that?
Oh my God.
Is that poop?
No, thank God.
Is it mud?
shit are you getting into?
What is
like
that?
Fucking orange and black, brown.
What are you doing, baby?
Star just got into an old pumpkin.
Looked like she had rubbed shit all over her.
Yeah, it was kind of scary, but didn't smell like poop, so we're good. Hopefully she doesn't die. Yeah, what were we talking about?
Ryan Clark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this guy just basically, like, had nothing to say to Schultz.
Yeah, a hypocrite, really. And he said that Ryan Clark's explanation was, yeah, I had talked to these guys before the show, and I'd asked them about if they wanted to address that, and they said no. So he's just like, he's getting mad. In summary, he's butthurt at a white man, Andrew Schultz, for making a joke about black women. Ryan Clark.
We can't catch a break on this.
It's 8:30 in the morning. You got every noise on planet Earth going on around here. We got a Dodge Hellcat behind us.
Yeah, he's butthurt.
He's butthurt.
The moral of the story is, like, don't think that you're better than someone, especially when you're making jokes. You know, you can make a joke about anyone. You should be okay with that because that's comedy.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the Officer Tatum guy had mentioned a few times is, like, you know, Ryan Clark is under the impression that he can make jokes about white people all day long, but when it comes to addressing his own race, it's like he's nowhere to be found, and that's not okay.
Yeah, it's hypocritical.
It is hypocritical.
It's not okay. We need to deplatform him now.
Demonetize. But now you get, especially in the sports industry, man, there's like sports media, and I know we've talked about this multiple times. Like, you turn on some of these shows and it's just like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, it's crazy. And this is how things get worse and worse and worse, when people are just trying to get some information about the MVP race, or they want to know how their baseball team's doing, basketball, whatever. And, like, these conversations are so unnecessary, I guess. Yeah. And, like, that it's driving a lot of this, like, racial division.
It is, really.
And it's like, it may not seem like it, but I feel like it 100% is.
Yeah, they're doing it. It's some sort of agenda with the woke Disney company that they're, you know, maybe if it wasn't about race, if it was about, like, you know, it could be anything else that would get clicks, they would do it too. So yeah. I feel like it might not just be like, oh, they really want to divide people up, which actually that's probably what they want to do, because if you divide people, then you have to take a side, and then that creates the argument. And that's the whole sports debate show. It's like, I'll take this side, you're going to take that side, I'm going to die on my hill.
Yeah. I want Iguodala.
Yeah, I want Big Perk on my side to argue with me.
Yeah.
Big Perk.
And that kind of Chandler Parsons has, like, a talk show now with Michelle Beadle and I don't remember who the third is on there. But
Lou Williams.
Yeah. But it's like the same shit. It's like Chandler Parsons was a good NBA player for, what, 3 years?
Yeah, he had, like, maybe 5 years.
And then he got a super big contract and then never played again.
And some knee injuries.
Yeah. So it's like, why is he... And I'm just asking a question. Sure. Like, why is he telling us about NBA? Like, why is Kendrick Perkins, like, a consistent host on these shows?
It's because they have a big following and they're a personality. Now, it's up to the person, the viewer, to decide whether or not that they're going to tune in. It's the same thing with what Douglas Murray was upset about the podcasters. It's like, why is X guy who's a podcaster getting all these people to watch him? Because he's entertaining and he can tell a story. And he cares a lot. Now, I'm not saying Kendrick Perkins and Chandler Parsons don't care, but it's like you just have to decide, like, what are you going to put your time and viewership into? Like, are you going to continue to watch CNN, Anderson Cooper, Brian Stelter, Don Lemon,
Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, do you want to keep being force-fed shit every day of your life? Or are you going to actually go find someone that is level-headed and maybe is, it all depends on what you want. Like, there's going to be information, there's going to be facts, and there's going to be the way people spin it. And there's going to be different flavors. Like, you're going to have the ice cream, but maybe you want vanilla ice cream. Maybe you just want Colin Cowherd. Or maybe you want sprinkles and fudge pieces in your ice cream. You want Stephen A today. So, literally doesn't matter. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even watch any of that stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, it used to be, the days of ESPN was when Stuart Scott was on there.
Legend.
Rest in peace. And that's when it was just sports. That's all they cared about was sports.
Who do you think the first guy was that kind of like made it more like personality based?
I mean, I think back to Stephen A. Smith, probably.
And Skip Bayless.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first show that I remember watching was, and it's funny, I used to listen to this when I was working at Boston Market. When I was doing my chicken prep, I have the headphones in, and I was listening to, I don't think it was called First Take, but it was Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. It may have been First Take. I don't really remember the name, the title of the show. So I was in high school at the time.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like, I felt like I was getting really good content of discussion about sport, but then you were getting the 20% of the personality and the exaggeration and some of the drama.
Yeah.
And it was like a good show. Like, I really enjoyed it. And then you kind of realize that Stephen A. Smith has kind of built up this entire personality. And now, more than ever, you can see just kind of how exposed he is. He built this personality up about being loud and, like, being so extra about everything. And kind of going back to how we first started the conversation of, like, the loudest person in the room is not the right one and not the correct one. And a lot of these shows now they're like debates where you got, like, people yelling over each other. And it's just like, there's no civility. Colin Cowherd is pretty solid with that. Brings a guest on, they're having a conversation versus yelling over each other. It's
the format of it. If you think about it, like the format of like being produced television, you have 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and then you got a big commercial break.
Yeah,
and you have to get off
Molly
the points.
Karam. All right, guys, let's
reel it in, guys.
But white people suck. And commercial.
Just remember, if they were black, they couldn't fight in hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad, but like I've seen Stephen A. on podcasts, and I actually like Stephen A. I just think like the format's bad. Like if he was on a podcast and he sat down with someone and got to like explain like why he thinks that, I have no problem with that.
But do you think he's like a high level guy when it comes to like basketball knowledge?
I think to be honest, like X's and O's.
Is Brian Windhorst?
Well, no.
The only thing he knows is a buffet line.
Yeah. He just covers the league.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like we have these mouthpieces for the league covering the league, and these people don't know shit about basketball, it seems like.
Someone's got you off on Stephen A. You don't like Stephen A.
And JJ Redick exposed all that whenever he was on ESPN, and he'd be sitting with these panelists, and he would literally say straight up, and I know Mark Cuban did it one time too. He's like, I can tell none of y'all have played any level of high-level basketball. Like, so you clearly don't know what you're talking about. And then he goes on his 5-minute rant explaining exactly what is happening, and like, now this guy's a head coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
And it's like, Stephen A. Smith did even play high school basketball. Because I've seen him shoot basketball. It looks like he never did.
He's got some good footage of him hitting mitts.
Yeah. Yeah, saying he would have, rocked LeBron if he would put his hands on him.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
But, like, that kind of goes back, and we can move on from this, but people want to hear, and that's why social media is, this is the net positive of social media when it comes to covering sports. you want the people that you're watching to be the one dissecting the sport. And so like LeBron doing his podcast with JJ Redick and having Steve Nash on, being able to listen to Bryson DeChambeau play golf and talk about golf. He's one of the best in the world. And so even Trevor Bauer at the time when he was pitching, he was doing a YouTube vlog series, and you got to hear the ins and outs of what it took for him to perform at the highest level.
Yeah.
And so like you're getting hey, shh. You're getting the direct source of information, and I think that's what people want. They don't want a mediator who really has no credentials to be explaining something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, we can move on from that. I think like when we're talking about social media and AI and everything, and it kind of all stems from that podcast. Douglas Murray brought up the point of like algorithms and how like we still truly don't even understand what the algorithm is doing to us.
Yeah.
And like what we're constantly seeing. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day about AI, and Elon said basically that I can't remember, like 10 years or something, pretty much everyone's going to have a robot assistant. Like a physical robot in your house doing chores for you, like going to get groceries for you. It's your robot. And he said it's going to cost like $10,000. It's going to be less than a car. And so if everyone's got these robots around, like if you had a robot right now, like what would be on its to-do list?
Besides, that robot's going to Walmart for me. In terms of utility,
yeah, what would you use your robot for?
Cooking.
So it'd cook all your meals for you.
Cook all my meals.
Personal chef.
Yeah, because that's what I always say. Like if I were to win the lottery, and money was never an object, the first two things I do: personal chef, personal trainer, like immediately out of the gate. Because you think about how much time we have to spend cooking, going to the store, thinking about food.
Yeah, totally. That's a lot of time.
And that's a great way to get yourself healthier. Like if you've got someone cooking healthy meals for you that also taste good versus you having I guess we're doing beef and rice again.
Yeah.
And then, so
that would free up so much time.
Yeah. So I would do that. Laundry.
Yeah.
Clean the house. Put on that apron there, iRobot.
Put on the apron.
I mean, yeah, it would just be every chore,
Yeah.
But then would that make you kind of lose sight of life a little bit? Like if you never had to cook your own food, if you never had to do your own laundry, like is that eliminating a lot of like the responsibility of life?
I think there is a problem if somehow the robot is gone, if you can't pay for it anymore. And then it's like, oh shit, I actually have to like cook my food. I forgot how to do that. I forgot how to like pump my gas or do my laundry. All these things. Like, wait, what store was he going to? And it's like, kind of like what they say about the calculator, how having the calculator really eliminated us from doing a lot of math on paper.
Yeah.
And same with like ChatGPT. It's like, it's kind of eliminating our way to write. You can use ChatGPT to pretty much write paragraphs for you.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good at that. So maybe it would. I think the positive, though, would be it'd free up all your time for more important things.
Yeah.
So actually, I wouldn't mind having a robot around.
Let's go halvesies on one.
Well, yeah, 50-50. Yeah, but the robot would be interesting. But yeah, if Elon really wanted to, he could really have all these robots start a world war if he wanted.
Did you end up watching The Terminator last night?
No, I didn't.
Did you watch anything?
Nah.
Okay. The rise of the Skynet, is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Skynet. John Connors. Because what if Skynet is actually just a prediction of what Elon Musk is going to create?
It might be, man. It might be. I think The point I was trying to get at was that there's one version of like the worst case scenario where it's iRobot and there's all these robots around and they kind of turn rogue on the people. But then there's the other version where the robots aren't even the problem. It's the AI, the underpinning of what's probably in the robot. But like what I'm saying is like we don't even understand how AI is like on our social media and what it's nudging you to believe one way or the other and how that could be employed to make people do anything, really.
Yeah.
Because if it's so much smarter than a human, it would be able to set traps for you and manipulate you in such a way where it just makes me think like it could get someone to really do something really bad. Or make you even hate your neighbor for some reason.
Yeah.
Turn against your own people. Or make you even want robot AI control. So that's like the thing that I was thinking about with like, well, I don't know if robots are going to come round us up, but I think they're going to manipulate our mind to get what whoever's either controlling the robots or what the robots actually want or the AI wants in general. Dude. Does that even make any sense?
A little bit. Yeah. I get what you're saying though.
So.
But even like, I think a good example of that is, on X, you've got your following feed, and then you have just a normal feed of like things that are related to people that you're following.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find myself scrolling on my non-following, which just sounds crazy going back and forth, but you start seeing things. I'm like, why is this popping up on my feed? I see a lot more now more than ever. I see a lot more like liberal content on my X, like people disagreeing with things that I typically believe in. I'm like, why the fuck is this on here? Block.
I want an echo chamber.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's kind of, I've become a little bit more self-aware about that recently because it can be really easy to only keep ideas that you believe in your eyesight and just within your ears and your head. And because you don't want to feel like you're wrong. You don't want someone to challenge you on something. But I think to become more of a well-rounded person, to gain additional perspective. Like, if you were unwilling to hear a counter argument, then what's the point of even having your own argument, I guess?
Yeah, if you don't even know why you believe what you believe, then there's no point.
But you also should be able to defend what you believe, right?
Yeah.
And I think, the full circle that we've kind of gone with this conversation, like, the discourse of having conversations with people that you disagree with, I feel like is almost a thing of the past because people are so upset that, well, if you voted this way, I'm not even going to talk to you. If you have this stance on this one subject, well, then we're never going to be able to agree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think people can't lay down their arms and like, let's try to find middle ground. And I think Charlie Kirk does a really good job of that. Whenever I watch the TPUSA,
yes,
he's always, every video that I watch him, let's try to find some middle ground, something that we can both agree on. And I think that's a good way to, if you do disagree with people, which you always will, like find something that you both can see eye to eye on and then build it out from there versus starting from, these polar opposite ends and trying to come to the middle.
Yeah, I agree. You just need to come at it from the loving perspective, not the hating perspective. If you do that, if you have good in your heart to do that, then I think it helps out a lot. And if you're genuinely curious about why someone believes something, if you're curious and you're coming at it from a place of love, a good spot to make amends.
Yeah. Do you think, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday, and even going back into the Douglas Murray conversation of, I feel like a lot of people have been desensitized to some of these labels and terms because we've been throwing them around to categorize everyone. And I think Nazi is probably one of the biggest
100%.
one where it seems like everyone is a Nazi now. And every time I hear that, I'm like, no, I was not alive for World War II. Like, I did not exist in a Holocaust camp or saw the atrocities of that time. But when you hear people just throw that word out to describe someone who likes Joe Rogan or, whatever.
Musk.
It's like that like gets me going because I'm like, there are actual horrible things going on and horrible people that deserve labels like that, and you just now grouping everyone else in there because you disagree with them. Like,
it's actually really disrespectful.
Insanely disrespectful.
Not just to the person you're calling the Nazi, but to actual victims of the atrocities from the Nazis, you know?
Do you think we can recover from that? Because now everyone is a Nazi.
You know, there's like the internet world, the social media world, and there's the real world. And I think they're two completely different things. So it hasn't been in my life where I've actually, people have called anyone that I know a Nazi or anything like that. It's all just social media stuff. So I feel like it's actually overblown a lot of the times. But, you know, when it comes to the public figures in our lives, like the president, Elon, Joe Rogan, all these people, yeah, like if you're going to call someone a Nazi, like, it's just like, you got to just kind of feel bad for the people saying that because they actually have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, but those are the same people that are sitting on the fucking CNN panels.
Oh, my
Kamala.
Dude,
and Miss Tim Waltz.
Oh,
Stolen Valor.
Those are the two. I swear, it was like, that was the brink of country going bad.
And so that's why it's kind of weird to think about, like, yeah, we're having this conversation now. 5 months ago, man, we could have been on the opposite end of, had Trump not won.
Yeah.
You know, what would life be like now?
Well, the problem
that'd be kind of scary.
The problem that the Democrats, and I wouldn't even say the Democrats, the problem that the evil people ran into was the fact that at the point before COVID, they had the game won. They had it controlled.
Yeah.
They had all the media. They had social media. And they had the government.
Strong-armed, yeah.
And so then COVID happens, and, you know, it was a gain-of-function virus where Fauci straight up just lied about it. And, you know, they moved it over to fucking Wuhan, and then it somehow gets out. In my opinion, I think they've deliberately released it. Because what they wanted was Trump to lose, because they knew he was gaining support. And then Elon Musk buying X had to have been literally one of the greatest achievements. When we look back on this time period, that is like major factor for freedom.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, they think he's just like, oh, he just wants to buy it, and he's fucking rich as hell. He's just going to buy it. That company Twitter makes no money.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like advertisers, and he lost all the advertisers.
Because he stuck to his guns.
Because he realizes the importance of free speech. And so at that point, him buying that allowed the conversation to open up. And you actually got to see like, oh, there's actually people that disagreed with the COVID vaccine. And there's actually doctors, you know, that disagree. And so they had the game won. Elon buys Twitter. The game is even. People start to talk and have the sharing of ideas. And then, you know, Trump wins. And it's like they've lost all their media power. They have no influence in the media anymore. And
it's a beautiful thing to see.
It's beautiful. When Elon did that, it made me just like respect him so much more because he didn't have to do that.
No. The same way that Trump didn't have to run. He's already a billionaire. He already had everything.
Trump is like, honestly, like you can disagree with someone's political beliefs, but you have to just respect like the fucking work. You got to respect.
Yeah, he is the American dream, right? In a sense.
He's like a racehorse that's been juiced up. He's literally like, his heart needs to be studied. The amount of stress he's under.
Well, he doesn't, and that seems to be a thing that I see a lot on X, people talking about Trump. They're like, the guy never seems stressed. Like he just doesn't, Like, he just doesn't care about failing. He understands that, like, failure is a part of success. And so the things that don't go his way, okay, I'm just going to move on. And, like, that's
one of a kind.
A mindset that, I wish everyone could adopt. Because when you do, and I've slowly been kind of bringing this into my own life, like, things that don't come away, okay, that's fine. I'm still going to continue moving forward. And I think a lot of people get so caught up in one thing goes wrong, they get one hiccup, and it's like they think everything's fucked. And it's like, if you live that way, you'll never make it to the top.
Yeah. You got to fail at some point. It's like you can't be perfect. And those failures, like, recalibrate your system to move forward. If you have a good mindset about the failures, then you're just going to keep on getting better. But yeah, Trump needs to be studied. He's do you think he changed at all after he almost got killed?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
I probably would too.
Yeah, and there's still people that, believe that he never got shot.
These people are fucking living on la la land.
Like, show me your ear. I'm like, yeah, show me Joe Biden's earlobe that was attached one year and then unattached the next.
Yeah,
cloning.
It's so stupid. Yeah, Trump is
he's going to go down in the history books.
Hopefully in a good way.
And then J.D. Vance, 2028. Either him or DeSantis.
Yeah, that's probably the two main guys at this point. I guess talking about Trump, we kind of have gone through this weird cycle of tariffs here. That's been his main, calling point on the economy is tariffs, how it's going to bring all this money back. And, the stock market has been down big time this year since he's done the tariffs. And then they had this report on, I think it was on Monday, where it was like Trump's going to pause tariffs for 90 days. And the stock market shot up like crazy. Like $10 trillion shot up. And then they realized it was like a fake report. And then it shot all the way back down. And so it was like a little thing right there. And then I think 2 days after that, on Wednesday or something, he actually put in the pause on the tariffs. And so at that point, the stock market rallies and it goes up crazy. And it's like I just kind of question, like, what's his motive for pausing them? That's kind of like, because if that's what you're going to say and you're going to do is, like, put the tariffs in, like, we're all on the plan. We want this country to get better. And if that's going to help us cut the deficit and we don't have to pay as much income tax, let's do it, knowing that we're going to have to pay more for goods that are imported. So that's what the whole point of a tariff. And we're actually going to shop more in America now and support our own people here instead of everything outsourcing to, China to produce everything, which only benefits the big companies.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's going to be a little tough at first with, like, the inflation of how much things cost, but we need to have an even playing field. And it's a really actually interesting thing to think about. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice for, like, cheap goods?
Yeah.
And America being a superpower, is that one of them? Like, if we're in so much debt where China owns all our debt and basically China controls us, I don't think that's a position we want to be in.
No. And you get a lot of these, the older folks, the 50 plus, who are really kind of the ones out there rallying about a lot of the stuff related to the stock market right now, and their 401ks are going down, retirement funds. I'm like, you're the ones that fucked us to begin with. And so
talk that shit.
The tariffs and Trump is pretty much creating the framework to rebuild the American economy to where when we are 70 years old, it's going to be the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
And it is kind of bizarre to think too, because I remember, really kind of growing up and not understanding where things were made. And then I always remember looking at everything that we owned, and it was made in China, made in Taiwan, made in Thailand. Just like, why is everything made over there? And, you just to really have that conversation about it. And then you kind of start taking an economics class and or opportunity costs. And, okay, we make these goods really good. Another country make these goods really good. And so we're trading, and the left has seemed to always had the position of, we want, working conditions. We want, people to be paid their value. We don't want to use cheap slave labor, all this stuff, which that's all that is when it comes to outsourcing jobs and goods to other countries, poor countries.
Yeah.
And so now that we're bringing it back to, hey, we want to give these jobs to hardworking Americans, it's like, well, now you're going to be working in a, internment camp, making Nike sweatshirts or Nike shoes. And it's like the conversation is completely flipped. So there's almost like an exposure of, so you guys really do just want the cheap labor if it just helps your pocket.
You're just going to say publicly like, oh yeah, we want workers' rights and all this stuff.
But not that 11-year-old in Taiwan working for a penny an hour.
Yeah. So it's kind of, wraps it around back to Andrew Schultz again. It's like the holier than thou.
Yeah.
Like, let's not put ourselves on a pedestal like we're better than everyone.
And people also forget, with I think the cancel culture kind of plays a little bit of a role into this, where people have the authority to spend their dollar where they want to. And so I always, I haven't bought anything Nike. I know I'm wearing a Nike sweatshirt right now. I have not bought anything Nike in probably 3, 4, 5 years. Just because they're not a company that I like. I don't feel like they represent me, and I don't want to spend $100 on a pair of shorts to just boost their bottom line when there's an American-made company that offers the same product with an American making it in-house.
Yeah, I think that's what the people, of these companies maybe haven't realized so much yet, is that there are companies that have. It's that the people will actually do that. And they'll actually spend their dollar where they want to. Yeah. Like when Bud Light went all transgender on us, no one was buying Bud Light. They dropped and then they flipped. And they're like, oh, that's really, we got caught up in all the woke stuff. Yeah. Let's back off.
We had a woman working for us.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So we're playing golf today. How's your wrist?
The wrist feels mobile. It's actually kind of stiff right now.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, we got the Masters on right now. 2 days in. Biggest golf tournament of the year. Such a beautiful course in Augusta, Georgia. It's just, I freaking love watching golf. It's so beautiful.
You've always liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to go play today. It's a beautiful day. Get some nice sun exposure. Hopefully not lose too many golf balls. Maybe crack open some nooners.
Oh, I need that.
I need a nooner on the course. Yeah, so it'll be a good day.
Then we got big UFC tonight. Big. Yep. Oh, my God. I'm so excited. Yeah. I fucking love the UFC.
Yeah. You're going to win the parlay?
Yeah, I got a 12-legger. $15 when
you want to give out your prize picks discount code.
Prize picks. Put all your money on Diego Lopez. KO.
Who is he playing, or who is he fighting?
He's fighting Alexander Volkanovski. We'll look back on this and they'll call me the Oracle. Lopez, go with Paddy Pimblett over Chandler, even though I like Michael Chandler a lot, and I'm actually rooting for Michael.
Nashville
Chandler.
native.
I'm rooting for him, but I think Paddy Pimblett's got too much momentum. And then, those are my two locks. I'm not going to go the third fight because I have too much emotion. I want Bryce Mitchell to win so bad, but the other guys are really good.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that want Bryce Mitchell to be knocked out.
Oh, yeah. They, Oh, my God, if he wins. They're saying
what do you think his, speech is going to be after?
Oh, my God. I fucking want to
Joe Rogan's going to be standing there.
Yeah, every time Bryce Mitchell gets on a podcast, he talks about how Joe Rogan's a flaming idiot.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, he's a fucking idiot. I'll debate him. The Earth's flat. He doesn't know. He's science. He thinks we came from monkeys.
Oh my gosh.
I love Bryce Mitchell. Like all that stuff he said, I disagree with, but everything besides that, I like his. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to apologize for liking a guy.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just asking.
But his post-fight speech is gonna be insane. If he chokes this guy out too,
raw and unedited post-gamer.
Yeah. Well, I can't even see how long we go. It's probably close to an hour.
Yeah, I got to leave here pretty soon. Go train the human species.
Yep. All right. Well, that was another episode. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some guests coming up that we're trying to lock in. So I think you guys responded well to the guest episode where we kind of get to learn together. And
you don't have to listen to me and Jack ramble all the time.
Yeah, we need to make a name for like this, just us two, and then we'll have the episodes where we're talking to people. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like a segment.
Yeah, sure.
You ever watch any of the, what's that Barstool guy? Caleb Presley.
He's so funny.
We need to have can we do another segment by Mamitas?
Yeah.
Mamitas.
What could we have?
Yeah, we could have
the raw milk special.
Oh, I did want to ask you this. Are you still buying Athletic Greens?
No, I stopped. I stopped taking it for about a month or two. I kind of had a revelation about it. And not a revelation, but basically Paul Saladino said not to do it. So.
Well, I was listening. What's that anti-aging guy, Brian Johnson? Brian Johnson. I watched one of his YouTube videos last night, and it was a pretty interesting thumbnail of like him blowing up like AG1. And I knew it was expensive. I didn't realize how expensive it was. It's like $70 for the monthly supply of just the green powder.
It's higher. It's like 80 something.
Which is pretty ridiculous because Brian Johnson was like, why is this product so high? And so he created his own. He calls it like the blueprint method. A lot cheaper. And he pretty much claimed that Athletic Greens was pixie dusting their dosing when it came to their ingredients. There were 49 ingredients on their label that were pretty much unaccounted for when it came to dosing. So there's 49 things that you don't know what it is and you're putting it in your body. So
that's scary.
Yeah. So Athletic Greens, you got to be kind of you got to be hesitant sometimes when it comes to some of these supplements and things that are constantly on your algorithm. I feel like I see Athletic Greens all the freaking time.
Yeah.
A lot of these influencers that showcase Athletic Greens or have a discount code make a ton of freaking money off of you buying it from them. So.
Yeah, and it's not to say that it's a bad product. We don't know that. I mean, it's kind of like a philosophy of considering if we take it at face value for what it is. It's got all these vitamins and minerals and probiotics and prebiotics and all this stuff in it. So at face value, like all of those things are good positive things. But what I heard Paul Saladino talk about, it's just like you can get all these things that your body needs from animal-based eating.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of what I'm doing. I haven't necessarily noticed that big of a difference. I feel like I'm healthy on or off of it.
I haven't been taking my greens in probably a month either, just because I kept getting nauseous with them.
Oh, yeah. In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. And then.
Because, like, do we need greens? Like,
I've always gone back and forth on that.
Back in the day, like, didn't we just kill fucking whatever is out there? Holy man.
Yeah, but you were yeah.
But yeah, you were eating their ribs all day.
Yeah, you were eating its stomach lining that had the phytonutrients kind of locked in there.
The liver.
Yeah. And so that's why like the grass-fed, grass-finished beef is really positive, because if you're getting high quality meat, you're also consuming whatever that animal was consuming. So if you're going to eat, beef and that cow was raised eat a bunch of corn and soy and just shit, then you're getting that shit. If you're getting that Wagyu cow that's been massaged and nurtured and getting the best quality nutrition for them to grow, and then you're consuming that, you're getting that same growth. So,
what's that Einstein quote? Energy shall not be created nor destroyed, only transferred.
And let's call it.